guys.
Hi guys.
We're just going to give you an insight into our van life and the kind of life that we're living. Whether it's right for other people or whether it's not right for other people. It's the way we like it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not everybody's
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea, I suppose.
No.
It might be somebody's cup of tea for a few days or a week, but we chose to go full time. More or less.
Yeah. So what made you want to move? What made you want to get a motorhome? No, we just discussed it one day, didn't we?
We didn't actually. I don't know where it came from to be
And then
honest.
Valentine's Day came, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you booked.
I hired one for a week, and it kind of went from there. You'd mentioned it prior to that, or you mentioned caravans or something along
that
line. So then I thought, well, I hired a motorhome for a week. So that's what we did, and literally from there we hired it, loved it.
Started looking, didn't we?
We started looking straight away. In fact, we actually went looking whilst we were in it, in Scotland.
No, we didn't.
We did.
In the Lake District.
Or at Lake District?
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay.
And we went to... Where did we go to in Lake District?
I don't know, but we kicked ourselves that we didn't buy that van.
We did,
because
it was a Contiki, wasn't it?
It was
a Swift
like
Contiki.
it was a tag, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tag, it was Contiki, and it had auto levelling system.
Well, it had everything on it. The only thing it didn't... Well, the only thing it did have that we didn't like is the iBed.
Was it an iBed?
An iBed.
Yeah, so that kind of put us off. And then we had a bit of time, didn't we, looking around, and we found one over at Don Amott, which was a Swift Bessica 596.
Yeah, which was a really nice van.
It had a bed that came down from the ceiling, kind of just after the driver's cab, and it was great. The bed was really comfortable, weren't it? It had rear seating, it had everything that you'd want in it, really. But we actually found that every time you were drunk, you were falling out of bed, weren't you, trying to go to the toilet?
No, even just getting out of bed was a
challenge.
A task.
It was, especially.
But I did end up on the floor a few times.
If one's on one side, yeah, they
like
have to go over the top of you
have one of them beds
to get down the steps, and the steps that they provide hurt your feet. So we ended up going out and buying like a little pair of step ladders, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Plastic ones with a thicker tread to enable us to be able to get up and down. And we had that for how long? We had that for about 8 months.
A year?
Did we?
We had it a year.
And we enjoyed that. So we just kind of kept going out in it every weekend and things, didn't we?
Yeah, we were in it every weekend from getting it, really. I don't think there were many weekends we stayed at home.
Yeah.
We didn't do long weekends because we had Cheska then, which was a giant schnauzer. She was too big and getting too old to come, really, because she had problems, health problems, so we didn't leave her too long. But it was a great van. But then also we're getting Buddy as well. With us being in a bed up there and he's down here, he's wanted to come up and it just wouldn't work.
No, it did have 6 seats, so we had 6 belts, which was great to kind of take grandkids and take anybody we wanted to take.
Well, it is, but we found just, you think you'll go here, there and everywhere, and it just seems to never happen. You know, either, they're busy, we're busy, or it just, you know what I mean? And a lot of time you were working at weekend when we were in it.
So we ended up with this front dinette, didn't we? That was basically not getting used. We were spending all our time in the back of the van, which was on was all the seating around, which was nice. It was really nice.
I mean, it was nice to have the table.
Yeah.
But you can't have everything, and we'll get onto that in a bit with the layout. But we had the dining table, and it is nice to have the table set up all the time because you just sit at it, like, But then it's just kind of a big... Well, a quarter of the van were took up with a table and a seating area across, which you never used apart from to eating. So most of your van were just took up a room with that, wasn't it?
Yeah. So then we started looking around. I was fixed on a Contiki, Swift Contiki, excuse me, on a tag.
Well, we both
with the rear bed. And we went to have a look at one, didn't we? And we loved it and stuff. Um,
Till we saw this.
until we saw the Auto Trail Comanche, and we couldn't find one with a low bed at the back of the island bed. We kept finding ones with a high island bed, which was great because it gave you the garage at the back to be able to put bikes in and whatnot. But at the same time, we kind of wanted that feeling that we was in maybe a really nice apartment. So if you want to get in bed, it's at the same height, it's at the same level. There's no steps or anything. You just sit on the end of it, or you can get in it without any problems.
And the look as well, like this from, obviously, if you didn't include the front part, is like a little apartment. And it don't feel so much like you're in a motorhome or a caravan, whereas the Swift Contiki were very much, it looked like one.
Caravan.
Yeah.
Very much caravan.
It did. It wanted, I mean, this is really,
This is quite tough, it's quite robust, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
And the Contiki just seemed to be a little
just
bit...
had the caravan look.
No disrespect to anybody with a Contiki, but it kind of felt that little bit more plasticky.
Yeah, it did.
Opposed to kind of wood and...
Solid.
And solid. So, what made us live in it? Well, Cheska passed away. We...
Well, we went back to the house that night.
After my booking, after I'd done a gig. I says, do you know what? I'm going to do her beans and toast and egg. So I did a bowl of, and I placed it all out, and there was the toast, and the beans were on top, and there was scrambled egg on top.
And she ate it
and
all.
She absolutely demolished it.
Yeah, she did.
But we woke up the next morning to find that she weren't so good, was she?
No.
And
so I think it was her last bouncer.
It was last supper.
Well, it was her
last
last
supper, yeah.
spurt of energy, which they tend to do get. So obviously we had to make that decision, which we prolonged, and we said we won't let her go on too long.
So we took her to the vets, didn't we?
We took her to the vets, came back that night, just couldn't bear being in the house, basically, could we? It was just not nice, and we packed her stuff, and
we never went back.
We never went back.
We packed our stuff. Unfortunately, Dale's brother has got a pub empty. We took it down to the pub, and we
rooted.
and
basically,
we just stayed there, and then moved on weekends.
Tuesday to Friday, and then off.
Off on Friday. Stayed away Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then down to the pub on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then back out again. And it kind of happened every week, didn't it?
And that's just how we've.
And that's how we've kind of done it. So, even though we are Vanlife, it is a little bit different because we do have we have a base. Don't we?
We have a base. Yeah, we've got
there
an house to
base
go back
there.
to. Yeah.
So that's what really made us. We kind of fell into it, but we were both happy to do it, weren't we?
Well, yeah,
there were no qualms.
Well, usually it can be, maybe I would imagine, one side saying they want to do it, the other side saying they're not sure. To be able to get two people that's in the same frame of mind and want to do it is quite unusual, I suppose. Not unusual, but it's rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
So luckily, we were both on the same page, and that's what we wanted to do. We haven't done it to save financially. It's probably cost us more than living in an house, to be honest, to a degree.
Everything we buy.
Everything we get and we buy and stuff like that. But we love the way of life, and it just opens you up to, I don't know. We did go back to the house, obviously, and we've gone up to do bits and pieces, and it's just like, God, it just seems so... It just four walls. This layout is, for me, the best one if you are in full time. Purely because we've got the lounge, we've got the kitchen which is separate, with a little island, and it's like it's small obviously, but it's got a fridge across from it.
Yeah.
It's got its own little select little kitchen. You've got your bathroom in the centre, so obviously you've still into your bedroom, but there's only us here anyway. And you've got the full bedroom, and it also has the feeling of a little flat.
Yeah.
And the layout, obviously, to be able to just get in bed, make the bed, and you can shut the door, you can come in here, you've got the 2 sofas, which the other reason we've gone for the 2 seats is because we needed the 2 lounges. Now, if you're in here full time, you need to be able to put your feet up. We never sit in these seats, do we?
No, no.
And at first we thought it were great because we've got these captain chairs which swizzle around. We might have sat in them if there's a few people in for a drink, family or friends. Then fair enough, we have to use them. But other than that, well, for the start you can't see telly because it's behind us, as you can see. But we just don't use them.
We don't. And the thing is when you've only got 2 seat belts, it also means that you can't take anybody else with you. And we love having people visiting us, don't we? We love having people coming to see us. But however big this motorhome is, it is still crowded with more than 2 people.
Yeah, it is. Well, with 4 really, because we've 2 dogs and us.
Yeah, so it is crowded. So with this layout, it's absolutely perfect for us because we haven't got the seats with the seat belts. So we've got 2 long sofas. Well, 1 shorter one and 1 long one. I'm short, so I go on the short one.
Yeah, so it's actually quite
Dale's
perfect.
long, so Dale goes on the long one.
The only thing is I always end up on short one for some reason.
You do, don't you? It's weird. So, is layout important?
Yeah.
Totally.
Very. Because, like us, I mean, we changed ours. If we weren't doing what we were doing, we might not have probably changed, but the bed will get in a bit of a pain in the backside. And also another thing which is to take on board is the separateness, the door in the middle, and it's not for the fact you want to be on your own. I mean, some people might want to shut off and have an hour on their own, but when you get up in the morning and you've got him snoring away on bed and you can't tidy up because your clothes are laid. I don't know, just for whatever reason, you put the telly on and you
weren't practical. The bed that comes down just wasn't practical.
You're in the same room.
You are.
Like with this, one of us can have a lay in. You can shut that door. And as daft as it sounds, it's quite soundproof, isn't it? Even though it's got a gap above, it's really strange. If I've got telly on in here, you can't hear it back.
Well, we had some curtains put up, didn't we? We had some curtains put up at the bottom of the bed. Which were great because the curtains also kept in a lot of the warmth. But they also, if we had people coming to stay with us, we'd shut the curtains, which enabled them to be able to then go into the to use the bathroom, and we were shut away in the bedroom, and vice versa.
So that's good.
So it gave everybody their privacy, but it's so important with that separate bedroom because over the kind of year and odd that we've been in this, there has been times that I've not been very well, and there's been times that Dale's not been very well, and you can shut that off.
Yeah.
You can, when you're not very well, you need that space, you need that silence, and we can do that.
If you need a day in bed or half a day, well, if you're not, if you come down with something and you need to be in there, you have got your own space.
Yeah.
And when you've got dogs, sometimes I go in there, so I'm going in there for half an hour.
You have a read, don't you?
I'll go in to read.
Yeah.
I might put telly on. And it's just your own little space for as long as you want, really.
It is.
What's
the pros and cons then?
Pros and cons.
I don't think there is any pros and cons.
Really.
I think it's all personal.
You adapt.
If there was too many cons,
you wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it.
No.
You wouldn't do it.
It's not an hassle.
You don't come into this. You don't come into this life with concerns of what about this, what about that. You either adapt to it.
You just get on with it.
And you get on with it.
Yeah. If you think too much about it, if you're wanting to do it and you think too much into it, as long as you're all right financially, you can sort all that. That's the other thing. You've got to. It's what you're doing it for. We're not doing it to save, as we've said, and we're only saying that because it's quite important for people to know that. Because if you are, if it's not a choice and you end up with a van that.
If it's not a choice, it's an hard life.
We've picked this and we wanted a home from home. You know what I mean? So we wanted luxury comfort. So that's why we've got this.
Mm-hmm.
We've got aircon. We've got all the extras fitted. and we've made it as
Which
comfortable.
we'll come to that in a while.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a while. So we made it as comfortable as we want. So the pros, well,
The pros are we
it's
have the
hard to
freedom.
really.
As I say, there isn't really no pros and cons because you're either in it or you're not.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you, then you wouldn't do it. And obviously people do have concerns about where you're going to pull up and where you're going to get electricity from and things like that. You do find a way. You find a way to do these things. But I wouldn't like to think that I was doing this in a small little van without
No.
some cash flow to be able to do the right things. You know, you do need a toilet. Maybe you don't need a shower because you can use gyms and places like that. And you can go and shower every day at a gym. But you do need a toilet. So that is a definite. You also need the heating. You've got to have the heating for the winter because you'll freeze. And you have to have some form of electricity to be able to, and gas to be able to cook your food and wash your pots and stuff like that. So, you know, it'd be very hard for somebody to do this type of life in a small semi-converted van. It wouldn't be a kind of a happy period until you found that you'd got those good things around you.
Yeah.
That made your life simpler.
Oh, if we were ever to rough it, we wouldn't do it.
We wouldn't.
We just wouldn't
do it. You know, but
because that's when it becomes a nightmare.
It's a chore.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
and if you don't like the space you're in, I've got to like. I like comforts to be able to have nice bits and pieces around you. You know, you want it as home from home if you're in that position to do that. You know, there's a lot. Vanlife is doing it for the other reasons where obviously they've been put into that situation for whatever reason it might be,
Financial.
which is fine. You know what I mean? It's how they'll either, but then again a lot seem to be happy as Larry and them. You know, you see them round and you know they love the little setup, and I suppose once
it's horses for courses, isn't it?
Well, it is, and they either choose to stay in that situation or they get back. And
some people want simplicity.
Yeah.
They want a simple life. You know, they're not bothered about the toilet. They're not bothered about the water. They're not bothered about this and that. They're just quite happy with just just like a simple
carry on.
Well,
I don't want to get away from all this rat race and carry on. And do you know what? It's so nice to not. How do I word this one?
It's nice to not be involved in it.
Having to be involved in a neighbourhood, and this is not personal. If anybody is watching, not personal to anybody that we know, but just not the carry on.
No.
You know what I mean? You just do your own thing. If you don't like your neighbour, you start your engine and you drive off. It's fantastic, really. You know, you ain't got the hassle. You're stuck in each other's pockets. When we obviously we miss family, but we do spend. Most of the time, backwards and forwards at home. We have got 2 long runs at the minute, which is,
6 weeks in London, and then we've got 3 months in Benidorm. So we are away for a while, but at the same time, we are a 4-bed. So family are always welcome to come and come and stay with us. So there's no problem there. So let's go on to how do you downsize? Wow. How do you downsize?
Well, I found it quite therapeutic and cleansing, to be honest, because to be honest, I mean, I'd obviously already started downsizing stuff anyway, but you realise what you don't need.
You do.
You have all this stuff,
but it sends your anxiety through the roof because you're having to get rid of so much stuff, and every little item that you pick up, you've paid for it. And you're not going to get the money back for it than what you paid for it. So you find to a degree you're practically giving things away, and you have to be, you're not so much comfortable with that, but you just have to accept it that you can't keep everything and there's nowhere to put it. At this moment in time, my son's at the house, and I've still got 2 garages full, which do need to be emptied out. To give him their space,
but you've got to be ruthless.
And I have got rid of a lot of stuff.
But once you do start doing it, it actually becomes easier because you just think at the beginning you're thinking, Or if we go back into an house, I've got to buy all this stuff again. I've got to buy that again. Got to buy that again. But once you've got rid of that thought process, and you get in here and you think, wow, yeah, fair enough. There's a lot of storage in here, so you do still collect stuff and open a drawer like you do at home and think, God, where have I got all this stuff from? But we kind of, which we haven't quite got his heads round yet, is buy new, chuck out the old.
No.
So, like, we want a new pair of shoes, we get rid of a pair of shoes, whichever we want. We've probably 20 pairs of shoes in here. Well, probably more. Actually, I counted 20 under that locker. And there's some under bed plus what we've got in here. So, we haven't quite got his head around that one. But when we get to a point where you think, well, we were going to put it, that's how you start having a declutter. Clothes, to be honest with you, as wardrobes were rammed, I mean, I must have gone through equivalent to what? 10 double wardrobes.
I gave away bags.
I just gave it all away. Designer, non-designer, everything. I thought, I'm not going on Vinted. I can't be bothered with it, to be honest with Vinted. It just goes on forever, and you got people coming in, collecting or sending off. So I gave a lot of it away, and then I put the rest of it in the what's the clothes bank. So,
and do you know what? If ever we've had enough and we go back to bricks and mortar, start again.
Well,
just rebuy.
The thing is, even if we did, we're not going to go in there so we've no clothes to wear, because I mean, we've stacks of stuff.
No furniture.
Well, we've no furniture, but we've got that much. When you think about it, the amount of clothes we've got in there. I mean, we don't use
half
I've got
of them.
tags on.
We need to go through, and I mean, some of the clothes are going to be good for Benidorm. Because it can be a bit warmer and stuff, so we can put the winter stuff away again. Not so much really, because it's still going to be quite a little bit chilly at night and stuff in Benny. So
well, yeah,
you know. So we've gone over how we downsize. Where do you stay? Oh, well, we did do a lot of park for nights. We do have the odd particular area that we like to go in. A lot of people turn around and say, when you've paid so much money for a unit like this, why do you not want to pay to go onto a park and stuff like that? Well, we don't really need to go on a park. We use park for nights, and we've done a few laybys, haven't we? And we are dubious with laybys.
Yeah, you got to just be careful. You got to watch. They tend to be safe if you've got your. When we say laybys, we're not just talking of just some shabby
side
offside.
Of
There's
road.
certain ones where like picnic areas. In the morning they'll have a cafe there. So you've got to pick your ones, which there's loads around.
We like safety in numbers, don't we?
Safety numbers.
We like to see like wagon drivers in and stuff, because at least if there's more units in that lay-by, at least if there's a problem through night, we know that.
And they usually have, to be fair, we wouldn't use them, but they usually have toilets in, so like the truckers and stuff, so the big lay-bys, aren't there?
Yeah.
Or service areas, or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
And we find that fine, and if there's 3 or 4 vans in there, even better, because there's somebody around you. We've stayed in places in completely middle of nowhere, which it don't bother me. I think you're a bit more wary, but if there's nobody around for miles, that don't bother me.
So I kind of wanted the motorhome to go in to split charge, because one day we'll do a vlog on split charge in Maltby in Rotherham, and Sam and the guys did all the electrics on this, and they were really, really good. So I've been inquiring about doing 360 CCTV on the outside of the van, along with kind of really discreet floodlights around the van, as well as a siren underneath, which comes with a walkie-talkie, so if anybody's hanging about the van through the night, we can see them on CCTV, which will be linked to the telly as well. We can put the floodlights on, and we can put the alarm on if we want to, and I can also speak over and tell them to move away from the van.
We have it inside.
What's that?
We've got the CCTV inside.
We've got CCTV inside, so we can see in as well, especially when we go out.
Which is for the dogs.
Yeah.
Basically, we don't leave. It's very rare we leave them. If we do, we're not far away.
Yeah.
And if we do, I'm usually sat on my phone watching them.
But we find our places to stay, and you will find your your kind of popular ones and the ones that you're safe in and you're happy and content. The only problem with laybys and stuff like that is as soon as you arrive in the winter, you're virtually pulling up and shutting all your blinds.
Yeah, you're nothing to do.
You are actually locking yourself in. When you go onto a park, even in the winter, on a kind of caravan park,
You can lock up
you
and
can
leave.
leave your blinds open and things, and you don't feel so locked in and shut in.
No, but
So the
we don't.
winter's not good for us.
We don't live kind of from one off road to another. A lay-by would be if we're passing and
Yeah.
we're going to a park, but then we'll pull up there and then we'll go on to a park for maybe 2 or 3 days, or we go somewhere
We do a
like
park
this.
after a couple of days, so we can kind of recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
We can empty our
Facilities.
our toilet waste. We can empty our grey waste from the sinks and the showers and things, and we can refill up with fresh water.
Yeah, which we get roughly 5-6 days.
Yeah.
Because this is another thing you learn to adapt with the water usage. We're not scrimping.
No.
But
we don't waste it.
We don't waste it. That's another thing. You get to realise that you don't need to be in shower for 20 minutes and all that.
So we bought like 2 toilet cassettes.
Yeah.
So we've got 1 toilet cassette in, and then when that's full, it goes into a container at the back of the motorhome,
Sealed.
which is an airtight container, so it's sealed in there. And then we'll put the next cassette in, and then when we go to the park, I'll clean both of the cassettes out. So that's all not so bad.
And that'll last 5 days.
Yeah, we'll get
Usually
4
or
or
5 days. So by the time you've got into the 5th day, we're either
You're
pulling
ready.
onto a park or we're somewhere that we can.
We can dump the waste.
Obviously not dump it
in a safe way. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll use an Elson point somewhere, won't we?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the benefits of living in a motorhome?
Benefits for me personally is being able to see different places, travel. I suppose it's the freedom of that, isn't it?
You know, there are things that need to be done. You've got your habitation check. You can't sit in it while it's having a hab check for the day. You've got things that go down that need repairing. So, you need to have another base where you can stay. Fortunately, I've kind of got my son. So if we needed to, we will go there. And then there's Dale's family as well. And I'm sure they'd help out if we kind of needed anywhere for night. It's a little bit more difficult to kind of go for an Airbnb and stuff like that because of the dogs, because we've got the dogs to consider. So it's not as easy to kind of say, let's put the motorhome in for some work done. It's going to be 3 days. We'll go to wherever for a couple of days and stay in a hotel.
Yeah, if you haven't got pets, then you can do that. So that's an option if you haven't got pets. Obviously, if you have, you do need to make sure you have got a backup. These places will take them. Like an Airbnb, so we'd be covered if we didn't have anywhere to stop. But
No.
We're all right on that front.
Yeah.
But
the benefits of all this is just your freedom, and there are some nice van lifing people on the road. We don't tend to see a lot of them, do we? And that's
Not
probably because
really.
of the places that we stay. Over time, we might start to meet a few more and pick up a few friends along the way, and have meeting points where we meet up and kind of spend the night.
Yeah, we just haven't ventured into that yet.
Not at the moment. How do you wash? Well, there's the Revolution washing machines at the petrol stations. They're very good, but they are quite expensive. For a big wash and a tumble dry, it usually costs about £22-23. So we have used them occasionally.
And you have obviously got to wait. You can go off if you want and leave them, but you need to be.
Well, we usually pull up and we'll just have a good clean while we're waiting.
Yeah.
So we'll give the motorhome a clean out and get rid of some rubbish and stuff whilst we're waiting for them to be done. But we did invest in a little kind of twin tub. So it's like we've got our wash in and then we move it over to tumble dryer. And then we just have a few problems really with drying the clothes because in the winter with the moisture and everything in the motorhomes, the clothes really don't dry so good, do they?
Well, no. So we've got if we're off grid and we need to wash and we haven't got the facilities, then we can wash, and it is really good. It's a twin tub. It was from Argos, what, £120,
Yeah, something like that,
something
yeah.
around that, and it is good. The only problem is you need to know that you've got access then to some water to top back up,
Uses
because
a lot.
it does use a lot of water.
It does.
So just got to make sure that you're within distance to be able to top back up.
But when we stayed on the Haven Parks,
Oh God, yeah.
when I was singing on the Haven Parks, we'd use their
Use those facilities.
washing machines and tumble dryers, wouldn't we?
Yep.
On there, when we were on the Caravan and Motorhome Club, we'd use the washing machines and dryers, and then when we're down at the pub, we'd secretly use the washing machine and dryers.
Little pub shut and then run under the arch and chuck him in dryer.
Sorry, Jason.
But it is my dryer.
It is your dryer, just not your electric. So on that, with the washing, we're fine with the washing.
But drying, which we haven't got yet because we haven't needed it, but what we do need, and it's the electric airers, where you just pop them up, put them in, and probably leave them on while you go to bed, and apparently they're really good. So that is the alternative to hanging your stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
As I once...
which I've done before. I've
you
hung
did
pants
it,
and
actually.
socks off of every handle, off of the ceiling, everything. There was just clothes all over the place. So how do you adapt to a smaller space? It's easy.
Well,
really.
it's not been a problem for us.
No, relationship has to be good. That is paramount. If the relationship is not good, then
You probably kill each other.
You'd kill each other. But we're good,
But
so
we're great, so it's just, it flows.
it does.
You know
So
what I mean? If one of us
we've
wants
adapted really easy, and I actually found I had a 4-bedroom. I have a 4-bedroom house, and we didn't use 3 bedrooms.
Didn't use the dining room.
We didn't use the dining room. The living room's huge, so we'd only use 2 seats in the living room.
Didn't use the garden, to be honest.
Never used the garden. We was heating the whole house. Astronomical bills, and it's like I wouldn't wish for that again.
No.
I wouldn't wish for it again. Our bills at this present moment are, when we park up, we'd have our pitch fee to pay. Water comes with that. Electricity comes with that. We wouldn't use very much gas at all because we're obviously on hookups, so we're using their electricity. Our waste is obviously disposed of on the parks, so there's no charge on that. So really, it's petrol and service charge of the expenses of the vehicle and keeping the vehicle up to date and making sure it's all working right. How's the doggies? Well,
they've never known out else.
Buddy's been in Motorhome for about... well, Buddy's been in it since he was about 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 months old.
He adapted pretty easy to it. He was toilet trained anyway, so we never had any problems with him whatsoever.
No.
Dion, she's been in it since we got her.
Yeah.
It's all she's known. And she loves it.
Yeah, they have their own little spaces.
She's like a little kitten. She sits up on window and looks outside and does her own little thing, doesn't she?
She does.
They get plenty of walks and they're out plenty, and especially when we like it when we're on coast, don't we, on beaches and stuff, because we let them go.
Oh yeah, they're just, and you know, there's always somewhere to
let off some steam.
And this is what really, when people go, well, you know, you get someone say, oh well, they shouldn't be locked up like that. They're not. They're not locked up.
Yeah.
If they're at home, if
they're with us 24/7.
If they were at home, and they're quite what's the word? Quite not attached.
Oh, they're definitely attached.
Like wherever we go, they're there. So if we were in a house, they'd be sat outside on us, or they'd be on your knee, or so. It's no different to being at home, apart from walking from lounge to the kitchen. They just follow you.
And cockapoos are very needy.
That's what we're trying to think.
The needy dogs, and so Buddy more than Dion.
Yeah.
He kind of needs us more than what she does.
Yeah, Dion does a lot. Like at the minute, he's
clingy,
and she's over there doing her own thing. But we do give him the run, so if they want to go in bedroom and go on bed, it's covered. They get on bed. They do sleep with us on bed.
But with them being cockapoos, they need to let off a lot of steam, and we can let Buddy go in park, and he can run. He could run for 3 miles, and he's still dragging me on lead on way back. And when he gets back, he'll have 10 minutes sleep and then sit back up and go, right, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do it all over again. So he does need the cockapoo type of breed of dogs, but they are quite needy on that kind of level for exercise, aren't they? Surviving off grid. This is a good one. When we'd got the motorhome, we knew that we needed certain things that would obviously allow us to live off grid, and so somebody who was parked in the pub, who's got a big kind of adapted, like, it's a big kind of, what was it? A big kind of old fire engine type thing, weren't it?
I think it was a German fire engine that they converted.
Yeah, and Chris had, we got talking with Chris, and Chris put us on to a guy over in Maltby, from a company called Split Charge. And I got in touch with Sam, took the motorhome through, and we ended up spending nearly, what, 8,000, 9,000 quid?
It's not cheap, but
no.
If you're in full time, you need it. You do need it.
We had a satellite dish on the roof. We decided to take the satellite dish off.
But waste of time.
And dispose of that. And that enabled us to have another solar panel on the roof. So we had the original solar panels removed, the rigid ones, the heavy ones, because we had 2 on there. We had them removed and replaced with 6 of the flat panels, the sticky panels, which keeps the weight down on the motorhome. So there's 6 of them up there, giving us just short of 1,000 watts. We also had a inverter fitted, which is 3,000 watt inverter, probably giving us about 2,300, 2,400 watts continuous. We also had split charge fitted, so when we're on the move, it's charging up the batteries from the alternator. We had 2 big lithium batteries fitted as well. Lithium is quite important because they'll hold more power. And we also had air conditioning unit fitted, which is hot and cold unit, a domestic unit for when we're over in Spain, to keep the van cooled down. The van already had auto leveling system, which is another game changer, because wherever we go, if we're on a bit of an incline, it'll steady us out and gives us a bit more motorhome more rigid.
Especially if you're off grid and you're not messing around getting out and putting. And in winter as well, when weather's bad and you're shoving your things underneath,
your chockers
underneath, and that's a nightmare. So that is really, like you say, it is a game changer. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit difficult in the winter because the solars don't obviously pull in as much power.
But our plan is to be broad really most of winter, so that for us works.
We don't use a great deal of power anyway. The majority of our power that we use is 12 volt for the tellies, etc. And all the lights are all LED, so we don't use that much power on that. The fridge, when we're off grid, works off the gas, because we had the gas low system fitted as well, so we just fill up at a service station with LPG, and that also will run when we're off grid. It will also run the water heater and the central heating, so that's pretty good, and it doesn't use that much, does it?
No, it's getting your head around how it all works. I mean, we still don't know 100%, but we've got an idea. You get a flow of it, don't you? You get a flow of what you're using, and
yeah. But obviously the summer is better because the solar panels are recharging the batteries up and giving us plenty of power. Would you go back to an house?
No.
No. At this moment in time, an house wouldn't be an option for us. We're going to see how we get along. Just move you just a little bit, guys. We're going to see how we get along in Spain. You never know, we might reside in Spain. We might end up coming out of a motorhome into a villa.
Yeah, we can't say we'll never go back into an house.
No.
Because you just don't know, but at this point in time, we're definitely not even considering it. It's just as you go along, you don't, like you say, we could end up going through Spain, finding something in Spain, or we could
We've
be
no fixed
somewhere else.
agenda.
No, there's no plan.
There's no plan. We could.
We might be in it for the rest of his
We
life.
could eventually do something else. Well, one important thing about van life is you have to be healthy. If you're not healthy, it'll be difficult, and that's why we decided, in a way, to do this when we've done it. Because I said to Dale, I don't want to wait for no pension. I need to do what we're going to do, and I need to do it now, so we can at least live a nice life until we get stuck back in bricks and mortar. So,
if we do,
yeah, if we do. So as far as an house is concerned, no.
Start
I'd like to change Motorhome over in a couple of years' time, over to an RV, over to a big bus with all the pull-outs and everything.
Which sounds great, but I've got my reserves on it.
Reservations. Yeah.
We can cut that bit.
Yeah.
Reservations.
Yeah.
I've got my
Try it again.
I've got my reservations on that one.
Why?
Well, I think it's getting used to it. It's like this. I got not doubts with this one. It was the size of it, and can we get in places? Can we get parked up? Everything's bigger and everything just But with them, you seem to be like
the huge
dealing with a bus. The tyres, the electronics, the pull-out. We did have to, if we were going to get with the pull-out sides and everything, and you're thinking, well, if that goes, that's another problem to sort, and if tyres go, you got all them to sort, and I don't know. When we've looked at videos, it just seemed they look so complicated.
They're fantastic.
Oh, they do. They are. But also, we've struggled sometimes getting down lanes in this. I just think, are we limiting ourselves too much? We've stretched to the size that we can in this with a tag. I don't think you can really get any bigger. I don't think. And we're all right. We found his way around with this. Whereas with one of those, I don't know what.
But you find your way around, don't you?
You do.
Your way around with it.
I suppose. I think abroad. I think you're more set up abroad for them over here. I don't know. I know what'll happen. We'll end up going to look at one and that'll be it. But...
So I like it. But that's not for a while.
No, that's not for a while.
We're going to get our money's worth out of this because we spent so much money on this. From anybody looking at it, they wouldn't realise what it's got on it. It's only until you actually tell somebody else in a motorhome what this has got on it and they're like, wow, it's practically fitted with everything that you would need.
Well, we can't really put out else on it.
No,
to be honest.
So if we have the CCTV fitted and everything, that's going to come in at another 4K, because it's a bloody good system that we want, and it needs to be able to do everything we want it to do. So if we have that fitted, then we're going to be looking at a little bit more money to spend. Whether we'll get the money back on this, I don't know. But
well, we did on his last one, but you just don't know, do you? What depends what
the market is like.
Yeah.
If the market's quite buoyant, you're going to get a good amount of money back on a part exchange. But if the market's not very good, you can kiss goodbye to a lot of money.
Going back to that satellite, we went from the old van, and everywhere we went, everybody had got these sky dishes that popped up, and all they kept going on about, oh, I want one of them. Don't they look great? And they come up and they swizzle around, and they do look nice on your van on top. It's just an extra little thing. What a load of crap. I mean, we got in. We couldn't wait when we went out in it first time. Didn't we? Thought weekend couldn't get any channels.
Getting near any trees and you've had it.
Near a tree, it was spinning and spinning and spinning. I said, this is a load of rubbish.
Well, like having a bloody waltzer on your roof.
It was. That's all you could hear. So we'd park up and put the damn thing up and sit there and wait and think, right, it's still spinning. And after fourth spin, you think, no chances. We're not going to get a thing on here. And then I think I'd left bathroom skylight up.
You did.
So then that's something to look out for. I put the sky dish up.
You did.
Is it sky dish?
Yep.
and all I could hear was this crunch, and
And
that
you
was
got it stuck. You
yeah
got the sky dish as it came up,
stuck
got
in it
stuck on the
in
toilet
between.
toilet roof light. So I had to get on the bed, jump up through the roof on the bedroom, with it being a bigger roof light, get on the roof, and I practically had to unscrew the satellite
This
dish,
isn't dark.
take it off in the dark, take it off to be able to put the skylight back down, and then I put the satellite dish back on. It didn't really work well after that, did it?
We took it off.
We ended up taking it
Yeah,
off.
we took it. Where is it actually?
It's in bin.
Oh. Well, anyway, it's gone, and it's pure internet now. Everything runs through smart tellies, so it's don't bother wasting your money
Another
on
one.
a dish.
Another one. How do you afford to do this? Oof.
Well, I think that's something. Everybody's circumstance is different.
Yeah.
So, personally, I don't think we need to really go into that one, because I think it's just
If we couldn't afford
if
to,
we could afford it, we
wouldn't.
won't do it. We can afford to do it, so we're doing it.
Don't get me wrong. We can't afford to spend.
Oh no, it's
You
not.
know,
It's not a constant holiday.
It's not. It's
No.
not a constant holiday, and we're always not because of our bank accounts, but we're always watching what we're spending. If we're spending unnecessarily.
Well, it's
know.
easy. What you've got to do as well is you feel like you're on holiday all the time to a degree.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. But at first, it's like, because you're in technically a caravan, you class it as you're away and you're travelling about one thing or another. So you've got to over time get in your head that you're not on one big long holiday, because it's not. You've got to adapt to, this is your house or your home.
It's your home. It is.
So that does take some getting used. Getting used to.
A lot of people are envious of us, aren't they? Because they just. A lot of people wish they could do what we're doing.
They do, but like I say,
tell them you can. You can if you can if you want to do what we're doing. If you've got
there's no stopping anybody.
If you've got a nice £250,000 house and your kids have all flown the nest, bugger leaving the money to the kids.
Yeah.
When you pass away. If you're both healthy and you're at an age where you're happy to kind of do it, sell your house. Sell your house. You're not losing your money on your motorhome. You might lose a bit of if you spent 100 grand on a motorhome.
Yeah, they don't.
You might sell it in 4 or
much.
5 years, and you might get 80k for it.
Well, there's.
You're not. It's not as if you're spending it on you're not selling your house and moving into a hotel and actually have nothing to show for your money in 3 or 4 years' time. You still have your motorhome to actually cash in if you needed to.
Well, there's different ways of doing it. There's, if you have got a property that you can sell, you can pull, say, 100,000 out, depending on what. It all depends on your finances, doesn't it?
If you've got a nice big property,
if you can,
say 300 grand, sell your property, take 100 grand out.
Ideally, buy something else.
Buy another house at 200 grand and rent it out.
Yeah.
And then you've actually got some income coming from your rented property.
Yeah. That's if you can do that, that's the best way to do it.
It is.
Because it's money technically in bricks and mortar. It's money technically in the bank, because you're not living in it, and you're also drawing a wage from it.
Because we don't have any bills. The only bills that we have are our kind of phone and little kind of bits and bobs like that. Obviously, our insurance on the motorhome. And road tax and servicing, habitation and all that stuff, and then obviously a fund for repairs and things. But as far as debt goes, we don't have debt.
No.
We don't have debt,
No.
so that makes a huge difference to your life, and it also makes a huge difference to your mental health, because I think a lot of people's problems with mental health is down to actually surviving. Your financial status, and when you rid yourself of all that, it's one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, it's certainly, as you say, there's different levels of it. You've got people that's living and kind of roughing it. Again, it's not against that. And they're literally living
because they have to.
Because they've got to do.
They've got to.
And you know, you just look and think, I don't know how they're doing it. So that's off to them. What I've been put in that situation.
Yeah.
But then there's also people who go and do that because I want to save money on bills and this sort of, and it ain't any cheaper. It's probably more expensive. It is dearer than us living in a house, really. If you're going on parks and you're putting fuel, you know what I mean? So we do travel a lot. So our expenses, it costs us more to live in the van.
Costs us more in fuel than anything.
Yeah.
You can put £150 worth of fuel in a week.
Yeah, whereas if you've got a house with no mortgage, so let's say your bills are £100 a week, £120 a week. It's, you know what I mean. So,
but they're not, because you've got your council tax.
Well, you've got all
you've
that.
Got
yeah.
your insurances. You've got your Wi-Fi. You've got your telephone.
No, but what I'm saying is a lot.
You've got your TV license.
Yeah.
You've got your water bill, your electric bill,
Oh,
your gas bill.
Yeah.
And by the time you finish with an house, even if you had no mortgage, you're still talking. You're still talking 500, 600, 700, 800, £900 a month.
If we wanted to go off grid full time, which we could, you have to move around a bit in a certain area, then it costs nothing. Then it would be cheap, but we don't want to do it like that, do we?
No.
We do off grid some of the time, so it depends. If we were on a park all the time, it'd be obviously quite an expense.
It would, but we wouldn't go on to a caravan and motorhome club site at 44 £pound a night.
No.
We'd go on to a CL, which would be like £10 or £15 a night.
True.
Or we'd go on to a private parking campsite, who might again be like £15-20 a night. And if you're staying for a month or whatever, then they're likely to do you a deal.
It all depends on how you want to do it. We could make it as cheap or as dear, and even if it were on cheap side, it's still great because we've got his van. We love his van, and if we wanted to go off grid, we've got areas that we can go to, and every couple of weeks just chilling.
Yeah.
If we wanted to base ourselves somewhere for work, we can do that. You've got to you get to know the areas. Search for sites we use a lot, and what's the other one? I don't like the other one.
Park for Nights.
Park for Nights. I can't work that one. We use them, and you'd be surprised just how many places there is. Pub stopovers, there's huggings of them, isn't there? A lot of them do require, obviously, you've got to use the services, but some will say just come in for a drink or come in for a meal. There's just that many different options, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
And the majority of them are free.
So I hope our take on van life has been interesting to you, and we haven't blabbed on for too long. We just thought it'd be nice to put people in the picture.
Yeah, it's nice to share different views on.
These are our views.
Yeah,
they're our
views.
personal views.
They're not
the way we do it, and there's probably an easier way of doing it, but we're comfortable with the way we do it.
Well, it works for us.
Yeah.
This works for us as we're doing it, and in time we might find different ways that we might end up pitching up long term somewhere, whether it's in the area that we lived from, or whether it's somewhere completely different and stay more full time, or we just keep going to different destinations.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Just keep on the move.
But at the minute we're just on the move.
We are. Can't be doing what we do. So whatever you choose to do, stand by it. You'll enjoy it. It's good fun.
It is.
Yeah. So until the next time.
See you soon.
See you soon.